All right. So we are recording this earlier in the morning because of the time difference between where I'm at in Los Angeles and in Iran. Our guest is in Iran. She's actually in Isfahan, the town that was targeted by Israel. I don't want to say struck because what we're seeing, at least at this point, again, this is a pre-record because of the time difference. Our guest would be hopefully well in bed by the time this show is airing. So what we're hearing right now is the media, the mainstream media is reporting that Israel's kind of cheering this on, saying that they struck Iran and that there were also some explosives that were seen simultaneously in Iraq and Syria. Iran says nothing was hit, that their defense systems took down what they say were just drones that were up above, that nothing was actually damaged. It's from just hearing what Iran is saying, the first instinct is, okay, it could be true, it could be false, obviously, right? But whether it's true or false, whether maybe something was hit, maybe something wasn't hit, Iran seems to be coming out basically saying, we're not going to do anything about this. We're not going to strike back. We're not going to cause a war. We're going to just kind of let this go. And it's easy to do that if you say nothing was hit, but maybe nothing really was hit. Our guest is, like I said, in Isfahan, Iran, Setara Siddiqui. Welcome to the show. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Tell us, first of all, I want to get into, we're going to talk about a lot of things today, including what you do as a journalist, your life there in Iran. But tell us about these. Was there a strike? I mean, what did you said you heard explosions. Did you hear loud explosions?
Actually, I didn't hear anything, and I lived like maybe 20 minutes drive away from where the alleged attack happened. So if it was a serious attack, if it was missile, I and my family members and my neighbors would have definitely heard it. But I didn't hear anything, and I actually didn't know anything about it until I started scrolling on my phone and seeing it on Twitter and hearing it on the news that something has happened. And I was wondering, like, what exactly happened, because this place that the location that they're talking about is just not very far from my place. And initially, the reports in Iran were saying that explosions have been heard in Esfahan near Qahjavaristan, or the military base near that place. But then there were reports that there were missiles targeting some military base or facilities in Esfahan, which didn't really sound like what we were experiencing, because, as I told you, I didn't hear anything. Nobody that I know heard anything. Then the reports were like the Iranian media started reporting and saying that there have been explosives heard, but we don't know yet what exactly it was. And then there were official reports that said that three, like mini drones, small drones, have been identified flying over the military base, and the air defense system has intercepted and like caught them. And what some people living nearby, like closer to that place, had heard was the targeting of those objects flying in the sky.
Okay, and then we've seen some video that looks like there's a big explosion, but from what I understand, this is old. Is that right? These are old videos this is from 2023 when there was an explosion that happened?
Yeah, the videos that I have seen also are either from not even Iran or like very old pictures. So the ones that we have seen that are actually from like this early morning or yesterday your time are just showing small objects flying and being targeted in the air.
Yeah. So no one that you've talked to in your town has seen any explosions, or, I mean, life is just totally normal there?
Yeah, it's totally normal. And I actually had visitors this morning, and I was asking them, "Did you hear the explosions?" And they were, "What explosion are you talking about?" And I'm like, "You didn't even like follow the news?" And they were like, "No, we were just, I mean, it's Friday, and Fridays are like the weekend, and people were having their, I don't know, picnics by the river or just hanging out, and they were not even caring what was happening." So it was absolutely normal. Actually, I had only one friend who said she had heard the explosion, and that's about it.
Oh, interesting. Was this at all reported in the news there locally?
Yes, it was. It was from the first minutes it was reported that
Like all
explosion
over
was heard.
every news organization was all over this, or was it just like fringe outlets?
Yeah. No, it was all the Iranian news outlets were reporting on it, but as I said, the initial reports were just saying that explosions have been heard in Esfahan, and because that was 4 a.m., so people were sleeping, so it took some time for people to catch up with what was happening.
Oh, okay, okay. Are you afraid of now the town of Esfahan is houses the largest nuclear is that the largest nuclear facility in Iran?
Yeah, it's one of the, yeah, I think it's the largest. I'm not sure if it's the largest or one of the largest, but it's a very important one. It's not inside Esfahan city. It's actually in another town near Esfahan. And it's actually known for being a very prominent research center.
Does this make you nervous that it's so nearby and there's always discussion of the Israelis targeting nuclear facilities?
Well, the nuclear facility, as I told you, is far from the city, even farther than the military base that the saboteurs were trying to target this morning. So, I mean, it's definitely concerning if they want to attack that nuclear facility, but it's not very dangerous for the cities around. Hopefully, I'm not very concerned because I'm very confident of Iran's defense system. So it's not that I don't think Israel would do anything crazy. It's more because I think the Iranian defense system is really well prepared, and we can see that from how they responded to the attack on Iranian embassy in Syria. It was a very well calculated and yeah, very well calculated attack on the military base that in Israel that launched a missile on the Iranian embassy in Syria. Iran used basically the oldest and the cheapest missiles that they had, so it
Yeah,
didn't really cost Iran much. And they could get quite a good map of how the defense system in Israel, the anti-missile defense system in Israel works. So it wasn't it wasn't only out of anger or anything. It was very calculated, and even Iran gave like about 72 hours warning ahead, and still um, Israel couldn't get they couldn't intercept all the missiles that were that were like launched against the
yeah.
military base.
There's been talk of war between Israel and Iran, which then would rope in the United States and the West with Iran for many years now. I think the rhetoric has really ramped up quite a bit since. Well, I'd actually. I mean, it's been around for quite a while, but more recently, it seems to have ramped up more. Is this something that you in Iran, or not just yourself, but the people anecdotally, the people that you talk to? I know you're a freelance journalist. I'm sure you talk to a lot of people. Is this a concern of Iranians?
It is a concern for some Iranians, but it has not interrupted their or normal life. I've heard some people asking, like coming up to me or asking me, "Do you think a war is actually going to happen?" But then even before I reply, they're saying, "I don't think that's going to happen," and it's partly because we have been hearing that for the past 40 something years. I mean, ever since we had the popular revolution in 1979, and we toppled the dictator that was the U.S. backed dictator. We have been threatened, we have been sanctioned, we have been targeted by US backed forces inside and outside Iran by Saddam, who was backed and armed by not only the US, but also Germany and some other European countries. So it's been a non-stop struggle. And by now, we have developed some sort of strong resistance against it. And the truth is that a lot of this, like this war or we're about to have this war rhetoric that we're hearing has American and European audience more than Iranian audience. So inside Iran, you don't really hear that. I remember even back I mean, ever since the war on Gaza and the genocide on Gaza started after October 7, there were more talks of attacking Iran because of its support for the resistant groups inside the U.S. But inside Iran, because I'm married to an American, and I hear the American side, but as well as the Iranian side. And then inside Iran, nobody was actually worried about it at all. It was not something that people discussed. And if you ask people, do you think there would be a war? They would probably ask me, why do you think, like, why are you even asking that question? But now with the things that recently happened with the U.S. targeting Israel targeting Iranian embassy in Syria, there are people who are concerned. This is something that people talk about, but as I said, there are a lot of jokes about it, and especially after people like on different groups and social media and like friends with friends and families, and we discuss it, and everybody's actually joking about how there were this just toy drones flying over this facility, and
Mhm.
it's like Israel wanted to say, I did something, but please don't attack us. So
Right.
it's,
Right.
and we also know that the US sent Iran a message to allow Israel to do like a minor attack to save face, and like, finish or close the case, but Iran did not accept that. And that was all that Israel could do. I mean, just hiring some saboteurs inside Iran. And this is not the first time, by the way, that they did this. Back in January 2023, Israel also hired saboteurs inside Iran to fly drones with grenades attached to them to fly over a military base, actually, again, in Isfahan. And that was also intercepted, and it did not really cause much damage.
Right. I think that's the one that I think it caused a little bit more damage than this one. It wasn't much, but
Yeah,
I think that's the video
exactly.
that we've been seeing a
Exactly.
lot of, kind of like a small explosion,
Hmm.
that people are kind of attributing to this attack. But that's not, the only thing that, you're right, the only thing we've seen has just been some flashes of light in the sky in regards to
Exactly.
this recent attack.